Hi everyone, I'm Johnny, and this is putting text into context. Reading does not consist merely of decoding the written word or language. Rather, it's preceded by and intertwined with knowledge of the world. Language and reality are dynamically interconnected. The understanding attained by critical reading of a text implies perceiving the relationship between text and context. I read that line from Paulo Freire, and it really stuck with me, so much so that I completely revamped how I teach. One of the things I like about this approach is that people instinctively put information into context, at least some of the time. By building on something that people already do, it's not a matter of having some method or idea that comes from outside themselves that they have to incorporate, but rather it's taking what is done subconsciously and sporadically and applying it consciously and purposefully. The way I do this is to start with something really simple like an exit sign. I ask people to tell me what this is and what they expect to find if they follow it. Often, I have to assure them that this is not a trick question, just a really simple one. From there, I introduce the idea of an escape room. Ask who's been to one or is at least familiar, and always add a brief description so nobody's left out. From there, I show this exit sign and ask everyone to imagine finding this in an escape room. If you're unsure if the sign is still trustworthy, then you understand context. In a room designed to trick you, otherwise trustworthy signs can be misleading. From here we build up or scaffold. Our campus has a lot of squirrels, so I ask the question, are squirrels dangerous? This website has a lot of negative things to say about squirrels, but when we click on the About Us link, we discover that the site is run by my three dogs and Doug from the Pixar movie Up. I ask, does knowing who put this out change how you feel about the trustworthiness of the analysis? The text is what they say, but who says it is part of the context. From here we build up again. This time we're looking at a part of a web page that comes up near the top of the Google search results for Are Squirrels Dangerous? The site lists possible dangers that squirrels pose, and remember, your chances of being killed by a squirrel are low, but never zero. Next, I revealed that the site is for a pest control company and asked students what motivations they might have for discussing the potential dangers of squirrels. Does this change anything? Do they have an incentive to embellish? Our next step up gets a little more serious and we discuss the plagiarism software Turnitin. As an academic librarian, I know this is something students are familiar with and it's important to connect to students where they are. While this article from Wired Magazine is a little dated, it does provide some learning opportunities. A little digging shows that Wired's parent company and Turnitin are owned by the same corporation, Advanced Publications. Does knowing this fact, which is never acknowledged in the article, change how they feel about its trustworthiness? Is this journalism, public relations, or advertising? And I don't have an answer. I just want them to ask the questions. Our final step up the scaffold is a look at student loan debt forgiveness. We're looking at a paper put out by a think tank, specifically the Brookings Institute. To help with the context, I ask what students know about think tanks, how they operate, and the papers they put out. I explain that the idea of a think tank is a non-governmental research institution, and they generally claim political neutrality. However, while think tanks may not be officially tied to a particular political party, they are anything but politically neutral. They're funded by the ultra-rich either directly or through their corporations and foundations. On paper, think tanks hire researchers and experts to discuss the current state of the world and recommend policy changes. In reality, think tanks are overwhelmingly pro-business neoliberal institutions that serve the interests of the class that funds them. So when I showed that some of the major funders for the Brookings Institute come from the banking industry, the same people who benefit from student loan debt, I ask if it changes how they feel about the paper. I also make sure to emphasize that everything in the paper may be factually correct and be the real view of the author, but what ideas get funded and promoted are part of the context that surrounds information. Now, this is a quick climb up the scaffold to go from exit signs to the global theory industry, but it's my hope that it helps students to start looking at what they see more critically and question why they're seeing it and who benefits. Thank you.